I've got this much time left to finish my documentary. Over the last year, I've gotten to go all over DC, meet some really interesting people, and learn a lot, but that part's over. I'm in the edit. So here are 5 things I learned while making my first documentary. Okay, so the first one is, when filming, if you're out there alone, just be okay with the fact that you can't do everything. When I went back during the edit and I was trying to figure out what to do, I started watching John Wilson a little bit again to brush up on it, and he just keeps it wide and holds it on the person he's talking to the whole time. And he's got a team of 50 other people going around New York getting him cutaways, right? You know, I'm just one person. If you're there with another person, the camera should be on them unless they point at something they want you to look at. And even then, you should probably keep holding it on them to see if they talk about it instead. And then you can go back and get the thing they were pointing at later. This next one may seem obvious, but I had to figure it out the hard way through trial and error. Watch your whole scene as you're editing it often. Do your best to stop maybe once an hour and just watch whatever you have in full to see if it's even a direction you want to keep on driving down and keep on fine-tuning. I'm interviewing a lot of people that are information heavy, right? But, you know, that's not what it's about. You know, it's about the person saying the information. Take notes on it as if you weren't the editor and as if you're back in the director mode trying to give comments to someone else and leaving your editor self a to-do list based on what you saw in the longer version. And, you know, don't leave the editor version of yourself in isolation for multiple days at a time without really knowing where they are or if they're getting it. Okay, and that leads me to my third point. I think it is okay to give up sometimes. I don't mean don't edit the scene or don't finish the project. I mean, if something really isn't working, then at some point you have to think to yourself that maybe it's not you and it's your goal, right? So you have to just let a scene go back on ice for a while and then come back and start over with a totally new set of goals in order to get anywhere with it. If you shot it and you're the one that's going to edit it, the film, at least in my experience, is going to end up being what you were thinking about when you shot it. And I would recommend spending a lot of time in advance thinking about if you want a specific narrative, all of your questions have to be in service of that narrative. When you choose your subject, just be very cognizant that that's probably the biggest choice you're going to make. Don't expect for you to have some type of epiphany combing through the footage and you see it and you find this underlying connection that you can't go in expecting that. You have to plan for it to happen. Okay, and the last one is what to do when you're stuck. And the answer is keep going. But what helps me to do that is to kind of go back to these core source texts that made me want to do this in the first place. I think we've all kind of ran into these little quotes or moments in media that have kind of struck a chord with us and made us think like, oh yeah, like maybe I should be doing that, and don't lose grip on those, because like now when you're in the edit and the clock is ticking, that's when they're important and you've got to finish it. So I'm gonna get back to work.